Great stuff. Thank you for joining me once again, where people continue to be fuckwits on the internet. They continue to be wrong about things left, right and centre. No shocks there. They continue to be recidivist defenders like Greg Douchebag Doucette, whose only tool, and I literally mean that, literally, Greg, literally your only tool of any kind whatsoever, literally, is misdirect, smoke and mirrors, misrepresentation, taking short segments of things people have said in a completely different context, usually for humorous purposes, and putting those things up as something other than what they were. Misrepresentation, basically. It's cowardly, it's pathetic, it's desperate. I mean, if you had any courage of your convictions whatsoever, Greg, you'd front me for a discussion face-to-face on calories in, calories out. If what I have to say is so ridiculous and so wrong and so easily dismissed, then why don't you do so, son? It's because you lack the courage. You are a fucking coward. Because you know you're going to have your ass handed to you. The second you front me for a live face-to-face discussion, you will absolutely have your ass handed to you by an actual scientist, and you can't have that, can you? So instead, you have to misrepresent everything I have to say and place it in a completely different light to the light that it was actually produced in. Anyway, off you go. Let's see your comedy fest and see if it's any good. Spoiler, boys and girls. Now, I can go and talk to the cow over the fence, maybe. That's a good conversation. He's about at my level of intelligence.
I'm not disagreeing. This guy's actually starting to make sense now. He says he has conversations with the cows of equal intelligence to him. And yeah, we're not going to disagree with you there. Okay,
so there we go. It's starting off exactly as he intends to continue, which is vastly, grossly, hugely misrepresenting what I've had to say. What you'll find, Greg, when I do a critique on someone's video is I critique their entire video from start to finish without creative editing. Because I have the courage of my convictions and I know I can handle whatever ridiculous nonsense you have to say. Caveat on this video here, I haven't watched it through from start to finish. I don't know what Greg's going to... Well, I do know what Greg's going to say. I know the sorts of things Greg's going to say, but I don't know specifically what. And we'll deal with it as it comes up, with ease. Just like I will deal with Greg easily in a face-to-face discussion about calories in, calories out, because I am right and he is wrong. And I really don't give a fuck how many of your prepubescent 12-year-old boy supporters that want to pile onto my various platforms on social media to tell me what sort of a cunt I am. I really don't care, Greg. That's not going to make any difference to my life. It's also not going to change anybody's mind, because everybody that supports me knows the level of veracity of what I have to say and the correctness of it. They understand, because they've listened to more than 5 minutes of what I have to say, and they've listened in full to what I've had to say. Okay? So you're not going to make any headway there either. What's next?
Coach Greg, and in today's video, I'm going to be responding to none other than Bart K, the university professor who is unemployed living at a farm.
Okay, that's a lie. I am not unemployed, Greg. I am fully employed. Okay, so you've got that completely wrong.
And so the question was asked, what university does Bart work at? And so Bart's response, well, my current employment status is none of your business.
That's correct. It is not anybody's business.
Think about it, idiot. People with a profile such as mine cannot afford to go around telling the world things like where they might work or live.
Right, well, that just makes common sense, doesn't it?
Use your brain for once in your life. And so what does someone with a PhD, well-established guy like Lane Norton think?
Lane Norton is not well-established. Lane Norton has maybe 10 or a dozen peer-reviewed publications to his name in his entire life. Most of those in the area of either sort of sports science or sports nutrition, really related fields. None of them of particularly good quality, in fact. Lane Norton is also another individual who lacks entirely the courage of his convictions to actually front me on a discussion on calories in, calories out, because Lane Norton, PhD, also knows full well what the outcome of such a discussion would be. I will tear him to pieces. Lane Norton doesn't understand first principles. Lane Norton thinks the first law of thermodynamics states that mass is conserved. Lane, it doesn't. I'll tell you why it doesn't. There's two reasons. Number one, it doesn't mention mass, actually. And two, mass is not fucking conserved, you buffhead. You pathetic little boy in short pants academically. You coward. Grow a set, Lane Norton, and front me for a discussion about calories in, calories out, instead of taking pot shots at me like this. Oh, you mean the lunatic who claims to be a university professor, but the university he claims to lecture at has no record of him? Another lie. What university do I claim to lecture at, Lane Norton? Because I have never made any such claim publicly, precisely for the reason that we just covered a few seconds ago. Why would I do that? Who says I am or am not currently employed as a university professor? Or where? I don't mind telling you this part. This is fine. I am not currently employed as a university professor. I have decided to no longer work in that industry. I am now fully employed, Greg, fully self-employed as a YouTube content creator and influencer, as a consultant, and also as a marketer of a very fine range of nutraceutical supplement products. Those three things keep me completely employed, completely funded for my lifestyle of living on a farm, which is great. No problems there. So Lane Norton is lying. I have never claimed publicly to lecture at any given university. What I will say is in the past, I have lectured at the senior lecturer role level and above at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different academic institutions of the university status. In New Zealand, Australia, the United Kingdom, and in the US. Although the US job was by distance electronically, I never went to the US to do that job. Nonetheless, I was employed at a US institution. Okay, so those are the facts on that, whether Lane Norton likes that or not. And this is really neither here nor there. If you want to attack my argument about calories in, calories out, why don't you do that, Greg? Oh, that's right. We know why you don't do that. It's because you're incapable, because my argument is actually unassailable. All right, let's go.
Bart K. Oh, you mean the lunatic who claims to be a university professor?
It's not a claim, it's a statement of fact. Sorry about that. Professor, for those that don't understand, is an academic rank. It's not a job description. It doesn't imply current employment in the field or not. In my case, what I could equally do is put the word emeritus or emeritus after professor, if you like, because I am retired from working in academia, probably permanently, I think. I think I'm done there, pretty much. I've achieved what I wanted to as a professor, and I'm now doing my own thing, producing the things I want to produce, looking after the projects I want to look after, living the lifestyle that I want to, at an age and stage where I can still enjoy doing that. I don't have to put emeritus after my perfectly robust and earned title of professor. It is a rank. It's not a job description. That's the rank I held in academia. It was never revoked for any reason. Ergo, I'm perfectly okay to continue to call myself that. So, basically, the people that don't give a shit is us about what lame Norton thinks, because lame thinks mass is conserved. Oh, fuck, that's hilarious. Right, what's next?
But the university he claims to lecture at...
No, I never claimed that, remember?
...has no record of him.
Lane contacted, or had a, well, he didn't even contact, he had a look at the web page for the school that I did my undergraduate training at some 20 whatever years ago. I also did work at that institution after I graduated as well as a graduate assistant before I went on to become a lecturer in my own right, yes. Why would that institution's website have a record of that on their website? Lame. For a start, there are privacy laws in New Zealand around employment and employment status and such. You really don't have the first clue about anything, do you, lame Norton, who thinks mass is conserved? Goodness me, what a turd. And Greg, you know, the fact that you're sucked in by a charlatan like lame Norton just shows the level of your destitution, your incompetence to actually even gauge who is a reasonably sensible human being and who's not. Sorry about that. What's next?
Yeah, I don't really give a shit what he thinks. And so when you watch this video, keep in mind he claims to be a university professor.
No, it's a fact.
But is he really?
Yes.
Kind of like how I say I have a master's degree in kinesiology, had the highest average in university.
Who cares, Greg? Your little master's degree does not make you remotely competent to give advice to people about nutrition, because kinesiology is not about nutrition. Okay? Neither do you have a single peer-reviewed publication to your name that I'm aware of in any field of study or any experience as a scientist whatsoever. Neither, Greg, do you have a set of balls. You are a fucking coward. Front up to me face to face and let's deal with this issue on its merits. Okay?
If I made that up, if it never really happened, if it wasn't true, then what would you think of me?
I already think very poorly of you, Greg, and it's got nothing to do with whether you're making shit up or not. You are, in fact, by misrepresenting everything I have to say and trying to undercut me personally rather than dealing with the argument. But all that does is hurt you, son, not me.
Would you listen to the information I'm giving? And so now that that's out of the way, I'm going to expose how he actually lost all that weight.
No, you're not. Because you don't know, Greg. You weren't there.
Or did he?
Yes, I did. I lost 15 pounds on the scale, which is what I claimed, and that's what occurred. Fact, whether you like that or not.
Claims to have lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks?
That's right, I did. I lost 15 pounds on the scale in weight in 2 weeks. Yes.
Go over his diet. And so rather than listening to an hour and 38 minutes of BS, we're going to watch what is his actual diet. What did he do to lose the weight? Spoiler alert.
I went 100% carnivore. I dropped out the alcohol I was drinking. I dropped out the corn chips. I dropped out any of the junk foods and things that were in my diet. I vastly, hugely increased my so-called caloric intake for the first 2 weeks of that period as a part of the program that's being coached by Coach Nazon over there at the Steak and Butter Gang. And during that 2 weeks of priming, where I was consuming 6 to 6,500 so-called calories a day, I lost 15 pounds on the scale. That's what happened. Whether Greg likes that or whether Greg doesn't like that.
Guy used to drink a ton of alcohol.
Not a ton, a fair bit, but not a ton. A ton is 1,000 kilograms, Greg.
Ate corn chips, had a horrible diet.
Yes, I did. Well, horrible compared to 100% carnivore, yes, but not really that bad.
Yet thinks that me drinking Diet Pepsi, caffeine-free, that's such a horrible thing.
It is. It's a chemical shitstorm, Greg. It's really bad for you, son. Really bad for you. So is corn chips. I'm not saying they're not. So is alcohol. I'm not saying that that's not bad for you either. I'm also not claiming any moral high ground here. What I am doing is pointing to the errors that you have made publicly, Greg, in terms of your interpretation of the facts, the science, and the methodology by which things should be thought about, measured, and what tools should be used by somebody who is wanting to recomposition their body. Because you think calories in, calories out is the answer, and it's fucking not. We've covered this. Only you won't allow anyone, at least on your side of the fence, to hear what I actually had to say on it. Because you're too cowardly to let them actually hear what I have to say. What you have to do is cut up small segments and play those things out of their context to try and make it look like I'm some kind of buffoon. No, I'm a guy who acts a bit of a larrikin from time to time in order to educate people by subterfuge. But what I say scientifically is absolutely indicated, robust and unassailable. That's why you're not trying to assail it, Greg. Because you know you can't get anywhere near what I actually had to say. Fucking coward.
That carbs are bad.
Carbs are bad. Exogenous carbohydrates are contraindicated in the human diet. Fact.
Can't wait till you see what he actually eats in the real world.
You have no idea what I eat in the real world, Greg. People to learn about what is and what is not science and the nonsense that you're being fed, really, in terms of what they are putting forward as nutrition science.
And remember, this is the guy, he's famous for this. There's no such thing as calories.
No, I never said that, Greg. That is a total fucking lie and a misrepresentation. Calories absolutely do exist. Calories are a measurement of heat energy. That's what they are. They do exist, as much as anything exists. Let's not go there. That's for another day. I never said calories don't exist.
Heat in, heat out. See?
No, I didn't say heat in, heat out at all. Greg said that. I never said anything remotely similar to that because that's fucking stupid. Greg said that I said that to try and make me look stupid, knowing that that is stupid. I didn't say that, Greg, ever.
Oh, we all got it wrong. You don't lose weight by being in a calorie deficit.
No, you don't. Because calories are heat energy. You are never in a heat energy deficit. The mistake you are making, Greg, is assuming that there is a means to transfer energy from one form to another in the human metabolic system. The two forms we're talking about being transferring heat energy to metabolic energy. That cannot be done by the human body. We do not have the kit for that. We do not have the machinery for that. There is no interconvertibility from heat to metabolic energy provision. Calories are a measurement of heat energy, specifically, explicitly. That's how they're measured. That's what they are. They do not represent the actual effective energy available to a human by digesting a certain bolus of a certain foodstuff. That's entirely unlike what you are projecting me to have said, what you are lying to people about what I'm supposed to have said. I didn't say that, Greg. You said that. You fucking idiot. You fucking coward.
It's heat in, heat out.
No, I didn't say that, ever.
You need to go through hypothermia.
No, I didn't say that either. I said if you were in a heat deficit, that is hypothermia. That's a completely different message, isn't it? You fucking lying toe rag. You pathetic, cowardly little cunt. Face me to my face, Gregory, and we will deal with this issue. And I will tear you 7 new assholes, you little boy. You pathetic little boy.
To lose weight.
No, I didn't say that. A calorie deficit, that means your body core temperature has been reduced because calories are heat. There you go. That's a different message. That does not sound anything like or anything remotely similar to the only way to lose body weight is to get cold, because I didn't say that. Greg.
Or, of course, surgically remove your body parts and or never drink water.
Again, these were examples of methodologies that a person could use to lose weight. And I pointed those things out precisely to point to the errors in your communication, Greg, the inaccuracy in your communication, the inappropriate use of the word weight, because that's not what it's about here. It's about body composition. Mostly, the problem people have is too much fat. Let's call it that, not weight. Weight can be made up in many different ways. It can be made up with bone, tissue, water, and there are many ways to lose weight on a scale without any caloric deficit. 2 examples are surgically removing parts of your body and becoming vastly, hugely, and grossly dehydrated. Both of those things will cause you to weigh less on a scale. None of those things involve a caloric deficit in the diet. That was my point. Stop fucking misrepresenting me, you cunt. Number 1, you can surgically have parts of your body removed, Gregory.
His words, not mine.
No, part of my words taken out of context without the argument being shown to be clearly what it was, which was to show the error of your communication, Gregory, the errors in what you have to say, the falsehoods in what you have to say. You said the only way to lose weight is to be in a caloric deficit, unequivocally, and you are wrong. And I prove that by saying, cut off your arms and legs, you'll weigh less. Dehydrate yourself, you'll weigh less. Neither of those involves a dietary caloric restriction. Ergo, Greg, you are wrong. That's what I said. What's next? I also do coach people one-on-one in the background, those that want to consult with and ask me questions about it and make sure that things are on track.
And so he claims to be a professor of everything. I don't have time.
I don't claim to be a professor, Greg. I am a professor, whether you like that or not.
To list all the things he is. And so perhaps where he's from and his planet, you have hundreds and hundreds of years to study enough to become an expert in all of these fields.
We did a 1-month challenge. Raymond got... Well, I have taught both undergraduate and postgraduate courses in all of those topics that just went across the screen, Greg. So I've been deemed expert enough in every one of those fields of study to teach at the university level in every one of those topics, Greg, by somebody. So maybe somebody knows something you don't know. Like the cow over the fence, probably, Greg. He knows more than you know. Got hold of me and said, I'd really like to coach you because, I can see some issues there.
And even with all this knowledge, he's an expert. The guy's 50 years of age and had to hire a weight loss coach himself to help him lose weight.
No, I didn't have to do that at all, Greg. I did it to help Raymond and to help the Steak and Butter gang. It was a cross-pollination procedure between our two areas of our audiences on the social media. Raymond and I are good friends. He respects me. I respect him. There was no need for me to hire him. It was in order to showcase what the Steak and Butter gang do, how they go about their coaching, and what results people get when they follow those instructions to the letter. Again, pathetic, desperate attempt to undercut my credibility. My credibility, Greg, is beyond assailed by an ass trumpet like you. My academic CV is above reproach. My history in the academic field is above reproach. It's a matter of public record, actually. So, this pathetic, desperate attempt to undercut my credibility instead of dealing with my actual argument, which is unassailable, only points to your destitution and your pathetic lack of competence. It really, really it just shines the light directly on you as an absolute turd, as an absolute waste of space. Here is a boy who has been done for illegally importing steroids, for getting a shonky, very, very dodgy hair transplant done, and for lifting a few weights in his life, who wants to take me on and try and paint me out to be some kind of incompetent. This is, the worst projection I've ever seen, Gregory. It's absolutely desperate and pathetic. You really are an absolute fucking coward. Come and front me face to face, son. We'll deal with your shit then.
And on the side, what does he do? Well, he's, of course, a weight loss coach. And
No, I'm not a weight loss coach, Greg. Another misrepresentation. Complete misrepresentation. People can talk to me about fat loss, body composition if they want to. It's one of the topics that I'm expert in, more than you are, son, because I know the difference between fact and fiction, science and pseudoscience, actual physics and lame Norton's ideas, for example. But I am not a weight loss coach. By the way, I thought I was unemployed. Which is it, Greg? Am I unemployed or am I a weight loss coach? Because it's neither.
So January 2021, that's last year, he went through a 30-day challenge to try to lose weight because he had...
No, nothing to do with weight, Gregory. Nothing to do with weight whatsoever. Wrong again. False.
Many issues he needed to work out. Last year.
So we did that. Had some really good results over the month. Lost quite a bit of the dad bod flab. I almost got a six-pack happening in a month. Got control of the alcohol thing a little bit.
And so he managed to get the willpower to stay on this special diet that he thinks is way better than mine for...
It is, Greg. Without any question. And there's nothing special about it. It's the species-appropriate, species-specific diet, as absolutely and unequivocally established by actual science, Greg. A topic about which you have absolutely no fucking idea at all.
30 days. And remember, I promote a diet that's sustainable, that you can stick
So is mine. Absolutely sustainable. If you want to sustain it.
to for the rest of your life.
Yes, so is mine. And it's not mine, actually. It's the species-appropriate diet. It's the human diet. And all the nonsense started about that stage with the pandemic and the lockdown.
Fell off the wagon, started drinking again, and eating all kinds of junk food. What
No,
kind
not all kinds, Gregory, at all. Again, another complete misrepresentation.
of food? Well, pizza, corn chips, junk crap.
Some, yeah. Enough to be a problem for me because I'm particularly sensitive to those issues. Enough that caused some bloating and dad bod for me. Absolutely. Yeah. So what? Biggest issue was not the odd packet of corn chips. It wasn't the odd packet of biscuits. I was drinking probably 12 units of alcohol twice a week, every week, without little hindrance.
And yet he makes fun of me. He makes fun of my cookbook.
Why wouldn't I? Your cookbook provides you with absolutely no credibility whatsoever, Greg. It's a cookbook. When you have a list of peer-reviewed publications, multi-million-dollar external consultancies, and a history of teaching at both undergraduate and postgraduate level at the universities on 4 different continents, Greg, maybe then you'll be at the same level as I am, or somewhere similar. Until then, get yourself directly to fuck, son. Who do you think you are? You're a little boy with a master's degree in a loosely related field of pseudo-health science who's written a little cookbook. Okay, you have a huge YouTube following of 1.6 something million, I think it is. Congratulations on that. What that shows is that it's a true thing that the average IQ is remarkably low, because you would have to be absolutely fucking moronic to follow what this absolute cocksplat has to say on any topic. He's an absolute fucking moron without the first clue. What's next?
Oh my God, there's carbs in there. What a horrible idea.
Yes, that's right. Carbs are a very, very bad idea. Exogenous carbohydrates are not your friend. Contraindicated, bad idea.
Low-calorie dense foods, the foods that you enjoy.
Heat dense. Calories are heat, Gregory, remember? You're talking about energy density. That's a different thing. Energy density, effective energy density in food is not the same thing as calories. Calories are not a measurement of the energy available to a human being by digesting a certain foodstuffs. We've covered this.
That you can stick to for the rest of your life. Well, that is just a bad idea. Why listen to Coach Greg?
Exactly why listen to Coach Greg, because you'll only end up with bleeding ears and stupid, ridiculous nonsense in your head if you listen to anything this ridiculous turd has to say. He's got no fucking idea about anything at all. He has no training and no understanding of the nutritional needs for a human being whatsoever. He has no understanding of metabolic process, biochemistry. He has not one single peer-reviewed publication to his name, not one single minute of being an educator in a classroom situation at the university level, and not even the courage to critique what I actually had to say. Rather, he had to critique a straw man of some ridiculous manufactured nonsense, which I did not say. Pathetic, Greg. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself. Absolutely fucking ashamed of yourself. December last of 21, and said, right, let's do this again. Only this time it's 3 months, Charlie Brown. And I said, okie dokie, same deal. We'll do it open hand on my channel. And he said, yep, let's do it.
And so after a year-long relapse, after going through a 30-day diet, he then was challenged to do 90 days.
So, how does that undercut my credibility in any way? How does it affect the correctness or veracity scientifically of anything I've ever had to say on any topic? At all. I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. So, you certainly are not perfect either, Greg. You have your own flaws and foibles, like a complete and utter lack of courage, backbone, upstanding moral character, for a start, before we get into some of your other, even less desirable characteristics, like being a criminal, Gregory, like being convicted of a criminal act, illegally importing a controlled substance that you had no business importing, and promoting the intake of that product to your supporters as well, Greg. Okay? So you want to start throwing around stones, you better make sure you don't live in a fucking glasshouse first, sunshine. Okay? What's next?
Wow, that's amazing. Imagine you can go from 30 days to 90 days of eating healthy.
Yeah, and I could go to 365 days if I wanted to. I'm pretty close to that now, actually. That's got nothing to do with the correctness or veracity of anything I've ever had to say on any topic, though. That's just what I did. That's my experience. That's the human connection with people, Greg, talking about your actual experience of the world as it actually is.
Only thing I eat healthy year round.
No, you don't, Greg. I've seen what you eat. I've seen what you claim to eat. I've seen clips in your videos of food that you're shoveling into yourself, or so-called food. It's not healthy, Greg. Again, here is a bloke who has a long history of taking anabolic agents, which are absolutely demonstrably health-destroying, and promoting those to impressionable others as well. And you think you have the right to come online and talk to people about health, Greg? How dare you? You fucking hypocrite. That's another one of your foibles and flaws. You're a fucking hypocrite. You are an absolute fucking disgrace, son. What's next?
For decades.
There you go. There's an example. That is not healthy. Look at that.
But no, why would I ever want to do that? Heat in, heat out. After all, he
No, nobody said heat in, heat out except you, Gregory. I never said that.
lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks while eating 6,000 plus of our so-called calories.
That's right. That's what I did. Yes.
Planet's this guy from?
Maybe why
Earth, still.
I decided to challenge him to 90 days this time instead of 30 days.
Well, first of all, on the 30-day one, Bart and I, we were talking with Tom and the crew, and Bart was complaining a little bit at that time.
And so during that 30 days, Bart was complaining about the diet. And listen.
No, I wasn't complaining about the diet. Again, lie, Greg. Misrepresentation. I never complained about the diet, not one iota. The diet was perfect. Still is perfect. Always will be perfect. It's a species-appropriate, species-specific diet. This is the point of you not playing what I said word for word from start to finish. Wrong again, Greg.
It was 30 days. If you can't enjoy the diet you're on for even 30 days,
I did enjoy it.
what chance do you have of eating like that for the rest of your life?
Every chance, because I enjoyed it very much.
Eventually, willpower runs out.
No, there's no willpower required to eat a species-appropriate, species-specific diet. No more than any other particular dietary pattern. It's easy. It's enjoyable. It's great. And it leads to the best health that I've ever experienced, really.
And so with my diet, that's the thing. You don't even feel like you're dieting.
Neither do I, because I'm not. I'm eating to full satiety every single day.
But no, Coach Greg, you're a horrible human being.
You are, Greg. You're an absolute cunt. You are a criminal. You are a bad influence on impressionable people who, for some fucking ridiculous reason, are so lacking intelligence that they think you have anything valuable or worthwhile to say. Your only claim to fame is that you have some musculature, which you did not even achieve naturally. And it had nothing to do with your diet. You absolute lying cunt. You are an absolute vile piece of shit, Gregory. No moral upstanding, no good character, no courage of your convictions. You're a fucking coward as well as a piece of shit.
You're a cookbook idiot.
That's right. You're a fucking idiot.
Never been cursed at so many times in years.
Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because there's more on the way, I'm sure.
And you thought that one video was bad? He had a former video, Coach Greg. It was taken down by YouTube.
No, it fucking wasn't, Greg. Another fucking lie. I took it down. Fuck me. Are you able to tell the truth at all, Greg, on any topic? Are you pathologically incapable of telling the truth? In my history on YouTube of just over 4 years, I have had 3 videos removed from my channel by YouTube. None of them were Greg Doucette videos. That's out of about 1,100 videos throughout a history on YouTube where I am known to go right up to that line and, apparently, according to the YouTube powers that be, over that line on 3 occasions in more than 1,100 videos. Currently, Most of my videos have been taken down from YouTube by me, Gregory, and placed on another provider, a less censorious provider, allowing me to have those videos available for public viewing without the scrutiny of the YouTube censoriousness. Okay? Get your facts straight. Do more than 5 seconds of research before you open your stupid, rancid, pustulous, excremental face cunt. Try that. What's next?
It was seen as being so horrible. And so there we have it. Photo on the left, a photo on the right. Guy blowing out his stomach, making it stick out further.
No, I'm not. That's exactly as it's... Both those photos were the same relaxed state of being. Another lie, Greg.
And on the right, sucking it in.
No, not at all.
Does that look like a 100-pound transformation?
I never said it was a 100-pound transformation. You fucking ridiculous cunt.
Does that look like the guy lost so...
It's 15 pounds different. Well, actually, I think in those two photos, it's more like 17, 18 pounds, something like that, over the full 90 days.
So much weight, it's hard to believe. Remember, he claims to have lost 15 pounds.
That's right, not 100, 15 pounds.
In 2 weeks.
That's what I did. That's why I claim that, Greg, because that's what happened.
Eating over 6,000 calories.
Yes, that's right. But these two photos are not the 2 weeks apart photos. These photos are 90 days apart.
Yet we see after 90 days, this is all he lost.
That's right. Nobody said it was a huge loss of weight on a scale. What it is a huge change in body shape, in distension, bloating of the abdomen, in that's generally the most obvious changes. It was all about bloating and distension of the abdomen and a small amount of fat that came off, which is what you'd expect.
And so if he lost so much weight in 2 weeks...
15 pounds, yes.
Well, how do you explain this?
Well, it's pretty simple. I got on the scale at the beginning of the 2 weeks, and it told me I was weighing X, Y, and Z amount of kilograms, which is what we work in here in New Zealand. And then 2 weeks later, when I'd finished the priming phase, where we were vastly grossly overeating, as already described, then I weighed myself again, and it was a number of kilograms less, which translated to around about 15 pounds, using the pounds weight methodology. That's how I explain it. That's what happened. So that's what I said happened.
Personally, I don't even see a 15-pound weight loss.
Nobody gives a fuck what you see, Greg. What you see is what you want to see. You are incapable of even telling the truth about what I have had to say, what the facts of the matter surrounding any given thing are, and you still haven't even attempted to assail my argument. You've made up some other shit, an argument that I did not make, and you've been poking fun at that argument that I didn't make. It's pathetic. You are destitute. You are a desperate little turd. You are a pathetic little boy.
From left to right. This could have been me at night, me in the morning.
So?
Have you seen my own 15-second transformation? Standing relaxed, stomach sticking out versus flexed.
Yeah, look at that fucking roid ab that was going on the left there. That's roid abs there, Greg.
15 seconds apart, not 15 days.
So fucking what? So what, Greg? What is your point here? Do you have any point to make? Do you have any argument to make about calories in, calories out, so-called? Or about anything I've had to say that you can prove to be wrong in any way, shape, or form? Doesn't matter what you say or how long you take to say it, I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks by doing priming. Whether you like that or not, it is a fact. It is a documented fact. That's what happened. And I don't give two fucks whether you believe it happened or not.
Not 90 days, 15 seconds. Looks like I lost more weight than this guy.
But for me, the huge issue was I was drinking probably 12 units of alcohol twice a week.
And so the problem with his diet, it wasn't really eating so many carbs, the corn chips, the pizzas, the junk foods. It was the fact that he was drinking way too much alcohol.
That's what I said, Greg. Correct. I was eating some of those carbohydrate, nonsensical junk food rubbish, usually associated with the drinking of the alcohol, but the real problem was the alcohol. That's what I said.
Multiple times a week. And as you know, alcohol has calories.
No, it doesn't. Calories are heat, Greg. Alcohol has energy in it, available energy, metabolically, but they are not in the form of calories. Still.
Calories in, calories out. Oh, sorry.
No. Calories are heat.
Heat in, heat out.
No, not heat in, heat out either. The point here is that calories are a completely inappropriate, unscientific, non-robust metric of energy. Metabolic energy available to humans by consuming various different food substances and food-like substances and alcohol. That is the point. That is what I said, not heat in, heat out. Again, still.
Out. And so, as you know, food has heat. And so...
No, well, only other than whatever heat it actually is, whatever temperature that food is at. Yeah.
If you take in too much heat, well...
No, you won't take in too much heat because body homeostasis mechanisms generally tend to keep your body temperature absolutely constant. The only time you're going to overheat is when you're in a heat stroke situation or a hyperthermia situation of some kind. That's got nothing to do with what you're eating. There has to be an external input of heat and a loss by some mechanism of the ability to exude that heat to entropy. Straightforward, really. Actual science, actual physics.
Well, you're not being hypothermic and you can't lose weight. And so...
No, nobody said anything about your body temperature being required to be different in order to lose weight. I certainly didn't. At all. At any time. Ever.
Once he discovered how to cut out the alcohol,
I didn't discover how. It's simple. You just don't drink it.
chips, the pizzas, and so on, he started to lose weight.
Even though I was consuming 3 and 4 times the number of so-called heat unit calories, Greg. Ergo destroying your argument about calories in, calories out right there on the spot. Because your argument was, and I quote, the only way to lose weight is to be in a caloric deficit. That is false. Fact. Unequivocal, unassailable, scientific fact. I even gave examples of how, in practice, someone could lose weight without being in a caloric deficit in their diet. Greg, we are done. You lose. You were wrong. You just need to admit I was wrong and apologize to your supporters for misleading them. You also need to get your ego under control and in check and learn from someone who knows more about this than you do, which is basically just about anybody, except lame fucking Norton, by the way. No, he still thinks that mass is conserved. Fuck me. Oh, Lane. Really, son. Completely out of your depth, aren't you? All right, what's next?
How does that go against what I preach? I tell people to eat in a calorie deficit. And
you can't eat in a calorie deficit because you can't, even if calories were a valid measurement of energy, which they are not in terms of metabolic energy equivalent, how is anyone going to accurately track their so-called calorie intake when nutritional labels are allowed to be out by 20%, you fucking buffoon, Gregory? Legally, 20% error is allowable on the caloric content. Then take in the fact that Joe Bloggs at home is not going to be able to make the adjustment for TEF. Neither are they going to be able to isotopically trace the fate of the amino acids that they've taken in to see how many of those were oxidized for energy and how many of them were not oxidized for energy, but instead were incorporated into body structures variously, and as such, therefore, in effect, contain no calories at all. Adjustments for water balance, etc., etc. My whole argument, Greg, is that your argument is ridiculous. What you are telling people to do is vastly, grossly undereat and over-exercise inappropriately, because you're telling them to do a bunch of cardio, which is also absolutely contraindicated. Your advice is inane, inappropriate, dangerous, actually not sustainable long-term, and will not lead a person to a likelihood of an ideal body composition or ideal health status. You're a roid junkie. You're a buffoon, you're an ignoramus, and you are a cowardly little cunt who is pathologically incapable of accurately representing what somebody else had to say. Stunning. Really, really stunning.
That is how you lose weight.
Actually, it was the lockdown thing. It was boredom. It was, I work from home. I'm a YouTube creator. I don't have a job to go to.
And so he works from home. He doesn't have a job to go to. His words, not mine.
So what? I don't have to go out of my house to my job. My job is in my house. What is your point?
Last I checked, a professor, it's somebody who actually lectures students.
Well, then you need to understand what a professor is. It's a rank. It's an academic rank. It is not a job description. I covered that earlier.
Lane Norton has a PhD.
Yes. So, that doesn't mean he has the first clue about anything. He clearly doesn't. He thinks mass is conserved. He said so publicly more than once.
To me, that's a guy who's highly educated.
Well, then you're a fucking idiot, Greg. You think a bloke who does not understand first principles of physics, basic physics, is a highly educated person. You think a bloke with about maybe a dozen peer-reviewed publications in relatively low-end journals in a relatively mishmash area of academia is a highly intelligent, highly educated person? You really are a fool, aren't you? An absolute fool. And it's no surprise that a coward like you would rely for support on another coward, because Lane Norton's another coward who won't front me for a discussion about calories in, calories out, because Lane is at least educated enough to know how that discussion goes and that he will lose.
But notice he doesn't call himself a professor. Why? Because he's not a professor.
That's right. That's why he doesn't call himself one, because he's not one. That's the difference between him and me. It's one of the many differences.
He doesn't teach students. And so if you're living at home...
A professor is not someone who teaches students. Professor is a rank in academia, Greg, you fucking imbecile.
...on a farm, and you're a YouTuber with 26,000 followers...
28 now, thanks, Greg. Cha-ching! Keep it up, though, son. Keep promoting my channel for me for free. Appreciate it.
And you perhaps coach a few people on how to lose weight, and you have your...
No, nothing to do with weight. I don't coach on weight, Greg, at all. Wrong again.
...own coach on how to coach you to lose weight.
No, nothing to do with weight, Greg, at all. It was about body composition and health. Weight was not a consideration.
How are you a professor?
It's a rank in academia, Greg. We've covered that. The fact that you can't understand that or even do 5 minutes of research into what a professor actually is your lookout, son. Clients to see online, fine, I can do that during the day. What am I going to do? I haven't had a change of scene. I haven't come home from work. I haven't been out anywhere. I've just been in the house all day, bored.
And clearly the guy's got to be overwhelmed with work. I mean, think of it. He's so famous. He's so knowledgeable. Probably has thousands of clients.
There's no way that I could deal with thousands of clients one-on-one, Greg. That's what I do. I do, however, have a completely full calendar roster of clients who are one-on-one clients who I do speak to, some of them regularly, some of them less regularly, some of them casually here and there. I'm doing about as much consultancy as my calendar allows me to do. What is your point? Other than trying to desperately undercut me in some way, in any way other than actually looking at the arguments that I have actually made, which are unassailable.
He's probably never bored. Only thing he says,
These days I'm not. Back then I was less busy than I am now. I've actually vastly increased my workload since that video that you're showing on your little screen there was produced. I would say I'm probably half as busy again as I was then.
yeah, I got a couple clients and then I'm bored and then I eat. Does that not sound familiar? You get home from work, bored. You did good during the day. You didn't overeat. You sit down at night, you're watching Netflix and you keep eating chips. Before you know it, you've eaten too much, you gain weight. Now,
No, that's not what I was doing, Greg. And it had nothing to do with weight still. Weight was irrelevant.
when I started a YouTube channel and I was coaching so many people, I was working 12 to 16 hours.
Yeah, I'm doing 12 to 16 hours a day as well, Greg, doing what I'm doing with the three different arms, if you like, of my empire, such that it is at this stage. I have a moderately sized YouTube channel of now 28,000 subs. Thanks, Greg. And I have a full calendar of consults, which I undertake on 4 out of the 7 days in the week. And I also spend an amount of time marketing a really good nutraceutical product range as well. And those things take out my sort of 70 to 80 hour a week work week, pretty much. Good.
A day. Didn't have any time for anything, could barely get to the gym.
I really don't have much time for anything else either, Greg. That's what you have to do when you're self-employed and you're starting out and building a reputation and building a new brand, which, I've been working on this for about 4 years and it's just starting to get some traction, starting to get quite successful. And you're helping, Greg.
I was at the gym, I was working the entire time, had no time for myself, was working myself to death because that's how much work I had to do. But no, my methods don't work.
Nobody said your methods don't work, Greg. I said your advice is wrong. Your advice is dangerous. Your advice is ignorant. Your understanding of physics, biochemistry, and human nutritional requirements is vastly, hugely flawed. And both you and your clients will pay the price for that. That's if your history with anabolic steroids and the like, Greg, don't get to you first. They probably will, son. People like you who live the lifestyle that you have led, Greg, don't tend to make old bones on average. I wouldn't wish it on you, son. It's just a fact. Okay? You are smack bang in the headlights. You're an absolute sitting duck, son, for early death because of your erroneous behavior, both in the past and ongoingly. You need to change your ways. Start by growing a backbone, a set of testicles, getting some courage, getting your ego under control, and learning how to stop lying to people, Greg. That would be some good starts, okay?
Which one of us wrote a cookbook?
Yes, credibility there, a cookbook. Which one of us, Greg, has been a senior lecturer for more than 20 years and has a list of peer-reviewed publications and book chapters in academic textbooks, Gregory, actually peer-reviewed material, longer than your arm? Which one of us is a professor of health science and which one of us is a fairly popular YouTube influencer, as opposed to moderately popular? Which one of us is credible, Greg? And which one of us is you? Which one of us has to lie about what the other one has had to say in order to try and save face and try and undercut the credibility of the other one? I'm not doing that. I'm playing your video word for word so everybody can hear every word you have had to say. Which one of us relies on lame fucking Norton and not Abby Not So Sharp for academic support when neither one of those individuals is remotely credible? What's next?
And I'm more than one. Who wrote a circle diet book?
Who gives a fuck about your fucking books, Gregory? Anybody can write a book.
Life's work, how to lose weight and keep it off. And what about my 4 training books?
Anybody can write a book, Gregory. None of those things provide any credibility to you whatsoever. Neither does growing some muscles on the back of taking anabolic steroids. That doesn't give you any credibility either. Neither does lying about somebody else and trying to undercut them by telling lies about what they've had to say. That doesn't give you any credibility either, except with your prepubescent 12-year-old supporting gang, the Douchettes. Sorry about that. I live rurally out the back of nowhere on a farm, but when you actually want to interact with people, or, I can go and talk to the cow over the fence maybe, that's a good conversation. He's about my level of intelligence, that bloke. Right, so self-effacement, a bit of comedy, which Greg has to take out of context and suggest that I am genuinely suggesting that is so. I've never met a cow with a 25-year history lecturing senior academic level, who's written as many peer-reviewed publications, book chapters, etc. as I have. Neither have I ever met a cow that's undertaken multiple multi-million-dollar external consultancies with major external organisations either, Greg. Okay? Neither have I ever met a cow who didn't understand that mass is not conserved.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. This guy's actually starting to make sense now. And so, listen. There's nothing wrong with living in a farm. There's nothing wrong with living out your dreams to be a YouTuber. And if he wants to coach people lose weight, great.
No, I don't. I never said I do, Greg. Again, you're still fucking lying and misrepresenting me. I do not coach people with regard to their weight. The weight of a person is the force exerted on their mass by gravity as measured by a weighing scale. I'm not interested in that, Greg. Never have been.
I don't care what diet you're on, keto, carnivore, vegan, vegetarian, but when you make videos saying calories in, calories out don't work.
It doesn't work, Greg. The only way to make it work is to vastly, grossly, hugely undereat and or over-exercise, both of which are contraindicated and both of which are poor advice. Almost as poor as telling people to take anabolic fucking steroids, Gregory. And illegally importing those. Nice job on the hair transplant, by the way.
That you can break the laws of thermodynamics. Well,
nobody's breaking any laws of thermodynamics, Greg. You don't even know what the laws of thermodynamics are. We've already established that. I challenged you in my last video to state what the first law of thermodynamics is, and you got it wrong. You got nowhere fucking near what the first law of thermodynamics is. How dare you sit there and talk about thermodynamics? You don't even know what thermodynamics laws are. How dare you, turd?
To me, that's going too far.
Well, Greg, you don't know what the laws of thermodynamics are, so shut your ignorant fucking face cunt. Shut your fucking pie hole until you know what the laws of thermodynamics are. How dare you?
If you're going to criticize my diet, well, I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to show the world. How exactly do you eat? If your way is so much better, well, let's learn from you. And so we're learning right now. This is what he does. This is his experiences. This is why he lost weight.
No, nothing to do with weight at all. There happened to be a loss of weight on the scale, and it was 15 pounds in 2 weeks. That's what I reported because that's what occurred. That was not the goal. That was not of interest to me. Buffoon.
The guy drank alcohol multiple times a week, was eating a lot of junk.
No, I wasn't eating a lot of junk. Lie again.
Was bored. And
sometimes at that time. Not so much now. Too busy.
Solution is calories in, calories out.
No, it isn't, Greg. Still, calories are heat.
You eat in a deficit. Hopefully you're lifting weights and doing cardio, which...
No, that's a bad idea, Greg. That is totally contraindicated. You should do no such thing at all. False, bad, misinformation from you there. Inexcusable.
He's against doing steady state cardio, 150 minutes of cardio a week, which I and others promote. And so I'm simply here to show you his way and my way, and you can choose the best way for you after you learn everything.
Well, the way to do that, Greg, is if someone criticizes you, as I have done, if you want to respond to their criticism, play the entire video, start to finish, and allow people to see what that person actually fucking said. You fucking coward.
With knowledge comes power, and so I'm here to help
Well, you have neither, Greg.
and educate you. And so there's the before and after. And what I see is a guy sticking his belly out on the left.
You said that before and it's still false. I was standing perfectly naturally at that time based on how things were. That's what it was.
And guy flexing on the right with some airbrushed black lines contour.
No, not at all. That photo is completely unretouched, unedited in any way, shape or form. The two photos were taken with different lighting, absolutely. One was in my studio and one was in my living room. Neither photo has been retouched, you fucking liar.
Where the abs should be. And so I'm not saying this guy's overweight, not calling him fat. It looks to be at a healthy weight.
That's right, I am.
People like
And I was on the left as well. I was just bloated. That was the difference, the bloating. The gas, the bloating, the problems associated mostly with the alcohol, which is what I reported, because that was what the situation was.
called a skinny fat. To me, he just looks normal guy.
That's right, a normal physique in the healthy weight range for a man my age, yes.
Perhaps lost 10 pounds.
No, 15. 1-5.
Okay, we did a 30-day challenge, as we've been talking about a year before. The second it was finished, it was like, right, I've done my 30 days without drinking alcohol. Right, excellent. So I made up for it.
And so how many times has that happened to you? You go on a diet, you're all in. Perfect.
It's not a diet. The carnivore way of eating, the carnivore lifestyle is not a diet.
Day training even.
Neither is it restrictive. You eat to full satiety.
You do it for 30 days, then you quit. You fall off the wagon, you go back to your old ways, you gain back all the weight and then some.
That has nothing to do with any particular dietary approach. That's a human condition. Humans behave that way quite often. It's illogical, it's ridiculous, but that's what happens.
You do so while crushing your metabolism.
No, my metabolism has never been crushed, ever.
You're on a crash diet, you're losing muscle, 15
No, I never lost any muscle. Wrong again, Greg.
pounds in 2 weeks, clearly crash dieting.
No, the 15 pounds in 2 weeks, Greg, was nothing to do with muscle. There was a small amount of fat and a large amount of water that came off my body in that time. That's what happened. That's why I lost 15 pounds. 12 and a half of it was water. About 2.5 was fat, if you believe the biometric impedance scale. I know they're a bit meh. That's what it was. My amount of protein didn't change at all.
And so you regain the weight and then some. And so the vicious cycle of yo-yo dieting year after year.
I don't yo-yo. I'm very weight stable. 15 pounds, one way or the other, on my frame is no huge deal. That's not yo-yoing.
That takes place often after New Year's. New Year's resolution and go lose weight. You get into February, it's already over.
So Greg still hasn't actually assailed any of my arguments at all, and neither has he been even remotely honest about anything I've had to say or any other factors surrounding me or my professional credence or my rank in academia, whether or not I'm currently working in academia or anything. He's just squeaked along like a little soy boy again, to the delight, I'm sure, of his 12-year-old prepubescent boy supporter gang, the Douchettes. Have you got anything worthwhile to say, Greg?
And so to me, definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And so why not try something different? Get my Circle Diet book.
Oh, fuck off with your fucking promotions of your ridiculous fucking books, Gregory. Nobody gives a fuck about your fucking ridiculous books.
My life's
Nobody with any fucking intelligence anyway.
tour explaining how to lose weight.
No. Weight is the force exerted on the mass of your body by gravity. It's not relevant to body composition.
And keep it off. Finally, for once, you won't feel like you're dieting. You
Neither do I, ever.
eat some meals from my cookbook.
No, fuck off.
They're lower in calories, higher in protein for the big eaters. Large meals, not some schmuck serving, not a little tiny plate leaving you hungry. You're actually full. And if you
Yeah, so am I every day. I eat to full satiety every single day.
haven't heard of my Seco Bar, 220 calories, 20 grams.
Oh, fucking hell. Incredible, isn't it, boys and girls? I mean, sure, I promote some products too on my channel, here and there, but this bloke's a non-stop fucking self-promotion, isn't he? And still hasn't had a single thing to say that's remotely correct or indicated in any way, shape, or form.
Of protein and 15 grams of high quality fiber. Gonna help you stay full, gonna keep you satiated.
Hey, let's go. Choice. That's a New Zealand word. Means excellent. Straight back on the cider again, which was all full of sugar and, just absolute nonsense. I can't believe I used to do that, frankly.
Exactly. I mean, we can all relate to this guy. He was drinking too much cider, got lots of calories, lots of sugar.
No, not calories. Calories are heat.
He's eating pizza, corn chips, and so on. And so he wasn't happy with his physique. He called it a dad bod.
That's because that's what it was, Greg. Bloated dad bod.
And so he finally got...
But was I over fat? No, I never was, ever. I was bloated. That's quite different. And it had nothing to do with weight.
Got off of all that, stopped eating all that crap, and he lost some weight. Congratulations. Calories in, calories out.
No, it was nothing to do with calories. Remember, I went up in calories by 3 and 4 times over, you stupid, moronic fuck splat. That's the bit you're fucking ignoring. My calorie intake went up hugely and my weight went down. That debunks your ridiculous argument. Calories in, calories out, you fucking moron. Fuck, this is not hard to understand.
In his words, from his planet, heat in, heat out.
No, I never said that, Greg. That's your ridiculous straw man. I never, ever said that.
No stage did I feel like going and getting some alcohol seriously at any stage for more than a second or more. No, I'm not doing that. That's not.
And listen, I'm not here to say you can't drink. I wouldn't say to someone, you can't drink wine ever again. You're trying to lose weight. It's out of the question. To me, any diet where you cut out something that you absolutely love, that's not the diet for you. Diet should be sustainable and everything in moderation.
I had one split.
No, not everything in moderation. Some things should not be moderate. There are some things that are contraindicated. There are some things you should not do. That's a fact, Greg, whether you like that or not.
On my 50th birthday, which was right at the end of the challenge, a day or so before the 90 days was going to finish. I drank half a bottle of gin.
And so what about drinking alcohol now? Well, for the most part, it's doing really good. He had alcohol, half a bottle, the night of his 50th birthday, but he was ill the next day, couldn't keep water down and so on. And so he says overall, it's not worth it. And so if you have certain foods in your diet, perhaps it's alcohol or junk food, sugar, you name it, and it doesn't agree with you, well, then stop eating it. I'm not here to say you have to follow my way of dieting, that everyone needs to eat like me. But what I am saying is find the diet that works for you, one of which you can follow for the rest of your life.
And we saw little ridge marks on your six-pack kind of peaking there. I've only had one other client that was around our age that actually got a six-pack out of this.
And so there's 2 in total that you can see apps. Yet I quite literally had tens of thousands who followed my diet who can say the same thing.
This is in a 90-day period, Gregory, and he's talking specifically about men in their 50s, you fucking tosspot. You ridiculous cunt.
Not 2, tens of thousands and literally millions have watched me describe my diet and made a difference in countless lives.
First time around when we did it, I went to go straight to rolling 48s with you. And that was actually pretty difficult.
And so how do they diet? Well, the first time they tried eating every second day. So every 48 hours you get to eat. And he said, well...
No, that's not how that's a complete misrepresentation of the program. Once again, another fucking lie from Greg Douchebag. If you want to talk about something, Greg, first actually do some fucking research into that thing and find out what it's about. This is ridiculous. You've got no idea what Raymond's program is about, how it is structured, or what we did. At all, clearly.
I found it really hard because the first day of fasting, I didn't really enjoy it. And so if that works for you, mad, you eat every other day perhaps, well, then do that. I'm certainly not a fan of it, but if that's what you need to do to lose weight, then by all means, give it a try. Of course, seek the advice of your doctor.
Doctors are not trained in human nutrition. The last person you should take advice from regarding diet is a doctor.
Can't just ask a
Well, Second last. The absolute last person you should believe about nutrition is a registered dietitian.
Professor, you need to actually ask a doctor, somebody who has...
No, wrong. Absolutely fucking wrong. Completely wrong. Greg clearly has no idea even what doctors are trained in. Doctors are trained in allopathic medicine.
your best interest at heart.
With the way we did it the second time around with the priming, obviously the fasting was absolutely dead easy. The fasting was an absolute pleasure every single time we got to fasting.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And so the second time he says a lot better because of priming. And so it was a lot easier. And so let us learn what exactly is priming so that you can learn from Bart K and apply it into your own diet. After all, he says it's easy. And so what exactly is priming?
I didn't say priming is easy, Greg. Another fucking lie. I said the fasting following the priming was easy. Right, welcome back. Of course, you haven't been anywhere and realised anything just happened, but I've been away for several hours to take care of several appointments in my actually very full calendar of clients, Greg. So let's finish off with the last bit of this ridiculous, pustulous, excremental nonsense spewing forth from your rancid face cunt, and we'll put it right where it's wrong, and that'll be everywhere. Carry on, Greg.
Priming basically is eating yourself stupid. It gets to the point where eating food at all is torturous because you've eaten so much over the first 2 weeks of the program.
Okay, and so in the second method, this is what you do. For 2 weeks, you binge until you're sick all the time. You eat so much food, it's disgusting. You always feel miserable. You hate
No, not true, Greg, at all. You added that last bit.
your life.
No, you added that bit as well.
You can't stand the thought of eating food. And so essentially you trick your body into thinking you hate food.
No, false. What you do is replete your body with all the nutrient that it's probably been lacking for some time because of your poor diet hitherto, among other things. It also has very important effects hormonally and endocrine system-wise, and that's why it works. Nothing to do with your ridiculous ideas about why you think it works.
It's disgusting. And so you can't wait until you stop binging. It's almost a pleasure. It's a relief. Finally,
Yeah, that's part of it, Greg, but so what?
I get to stop eating.
Yep, but so what?
And so that is priming. And so if you want to try that, well, give it a try.
I did. Lost 15 pounds doing it. Changed my body composition quite markedly in just 2 weeks, in fact. It was torturous. It was unpleasant at times. It was hard work. It wasn't a pleasure to undertake it, but it was utilitarian. It had its value. It did what it was supposed to do. It was part of the program that I was undertaking. Job's a good one.
I wonder if this applies to other things. You're out there, you're trying to give up smoking. Well, why not smoke 5 to 10 packs of cigarettes a day for 2 weeks?
You could do that if you wanted to. You'd probably feel quite sick doing that, and that might help. Do I think you should do that? No, because you shouldn't smoke any cigarettes ever. Food is a different thing from cigarettes, isn't it, Greg?
At a point where you just can't stand it, and then stop cold turkey.
I wish my daddy'd had the parenting skills to do this for me. I tell you what, start puffing, boy.
Goddamn stake in my life, that'll be great, you know? So harder up front, the work was up front this time. It was, you know, priming is the work.
And so the priming is the work. And so for 2 weeks, you have to really force feed and you hate your life. And
No, you added that bit. Again, still false.
that is the hard part. And then the fasting for 90 days after, well, it's easy in comparison.
Didn't fast for 90 days either, Greg. That's another thing you made up. False again. Do you do more than 2 seconds of research before you open your stupid rancid face cunt? No? That's what I thought.
To those 14 days of torture where you're eating yourself sick.
Our parents were being told was good for us, so it was balanced diet, it was fruit and vegetables, it was bread and pasta and rice.
And so when he was a kid, he had a balanced diet. Sounds like he ate well, but he says it didn't work for him. He was a small kid, and he's grown up into a mountain of a man.
No, I haven't. Genetically, I come from a stock of very small men. For those who want to know, I'm 5'6" and about 135 pounds, give or take. That's what it is.
140 pounds.
About 135.
And so he's not big now. It's not like eating in this way somehow magically put on a ton of muscle.
I never claimed it did. ever.
He's 140 pounds.
And that's not my goal. I don't want a ton of muscle. That's contraindicated, Greg. That will shorten your lifespan. The fact that you have an overly muscled frame, you will pay the price for that in terms of years of life on this planet, son. Sorry about that.
50 years of age. Don't know how tall he is, but I would
5'6".
say he's probably at a healthy weight. And so nothing wrong with that.
Correct. Nothing whatsoever.
And so there you have it, everyone. Now you know how Bart K has lost all that weight and kept it off. And so if you want to follow his diet, you can go and check him out. And of course, if you want to follow mine, well, use code GREG. You get 10% off. Click the link in the description. You can go to gregdoucette.com.
That's funny because I don't charge a cent to tell people what the species-appropriate, species-specific diet definitely, unequivocally, absolutely is, as established by science. You can pay Greg money to tell you lies if you like and tell you that eating carbohydrates is fine and you should eat a whole bunch of them and that balance is a good thing in your diet and that the way to estimate or measure the effective energy contained in foods is by using heat energy, which it fucking isn't. And you'll also, knowing what you do now about the fact that Greg is pathologically incapable of either telling the truth about anything whatsoever or indeed behaving in a legal fashion, not out with the law, for example. Hey, you follow Greg if you want to. That's your funeral.
Or visit HTLT.
Right, so we're done here with Greg Douchebag and his douchebaggery once again. So in summary, lies, misrepresentations, more misrepresentations, not a single point that refutes anything I've had to say about any of the facts or science underpinning any of this calories in, calories out argument. Still no sign of a backbone or spine from Greg Douchebag. No sign of the courage of his convictions to actually front me for a discussion about calories in, calories out whatsoever. It's not looking good for you, Greg, at all. It's looking damned ugly for you, actually, son. And it's going to look ugly to anyone who actually bothers to check out this full video and watch it, not to mention my previous videos on you, in full, to see what I actually did say and how badly you've attempted to twist what I actually did say to suit your ego problem, frankly, son. All right, good. Join me next time when someone else will be wrong on the interwebs, but not as wrong as Greg Douchebag, because there's only a limit to how wrong any one person can be, isn't there? All right, see you then. Ciao for now. Music 2, 3, 4.